are like right now, it's insane to me.
Yeah.
It's so insane to me. Like the Mets, and I want to get all your thoughts about the Mets. Like, please, please, please. Like, the floor is all yours. I just have to say though, really quickly, that I just can't believe that this Phillies team like is just on this type of a roll, and we're just coming off of another comeback win in the ninth inning against the Nationals.
I saw, keeping track, I always give score updates as I'm doing the Met games, and I saw it was 5-0 Nationals. And then all of a sudden I saw it was 5-2, and then it was 5-5. And then next thing I know, I'm doing the Met game, and Gary Cohen, the Met announcer, goes, "Well, the Phillies just scored 5 runs in the ninth, only 10-5." Like, what is going on? Like, District Nation, the Nationals fan, every week he does the power rankings with me, and he says it. He's like, the Nationals are going to score a ton of runs, but they're going to give up a ton of runs. But that is 3 heartbreaking. If you're a Nationals fan, that is 3 heartbreaking losses after winning game 1.
The crazy part about tonight is that the Phillies had so many errors. They made so many bad plays. Bryson Stott had a couple of bad plays that he usually has. Alec Boehm had a terrible play over at third base, a ball that ate him up. And then Trey Turner had another terrible defensive night. And then JT, with the bases loaded after they tied the game, trips over his bat when he goes over to first base. And then Crawford, in the very next inning, after Turner strikes out, Justin Crawford, on the strike him out, throw him out, over dives at the second base bag, but they actually said it looked like on the replay that he was safe and that the tag wasn't applied when his foot was off the bag, but they called him out. And with all those mistakes, with all of those blunders that occurred, they found a way. I just can't explain it. I don't know where Derek Hill. Obviously, Derek Hill was somebody that the Phillies traded for when Adolis Garcia went down. But if you're here to tell me that on back-to-back nights in the ninth inning that he would hit you a 2-run home run, I would have I probably would have said, "Get out of my chat."
And that was the thing. The first game, right? They were down to their final strike, and somebody hit the go-ahead home run.
Yeah, that was Bryson Stott.
Just tonight, you guys come back and, I mean, unstoppable. Right now, you're only 4 games behind the Braves, too.
It's unbelievable to me. Yeah, the first night, Trey Turner, out of all people, got on with a single to extend the game. And Trey Turner's had such a terrible year. He's been so bad offensively for the Philadelphia Phillies. And for him to get on with that single there, I was like, wow, okay. And then after that, it was Brandon Marsh who just tied it up on one swing. And coming on into the season, I would have never expected Brandon Marsh to just have this type of an all-star season. But he has been playing phenomenally. He is the best hitter on this Phillies team. He has been really coming up clutch. I mean, I remember even in the Mets series, he was cold in the Mets series. But the fact that he was even that cold and the Phillies put up all those runs, it's just insane to me how they have just been playing. We all know about how great Kyle Schwarber is and how great Bryce Harper is. But heading on into the season, I was really mad about the whole Brandon Marsh thing because he was being platooned, and I thought that there was a reason why that he was. And like the more I watch him, the more I just think about like, why the heck did Rob Thompson decide to platoon this guy against lefties? It's just insane to me because he is hitting home runs. He has 7 homers in the month of June, and for him that is just incredible. And he hit that game-tying home run in the 9th inning 2 nights ago. And then you see Bryson Stott just keeping that 3-run home run fair. I couldn't believe it. I think Don Mattingly said that's like a Barry Bonds type of a thing, just to keep it fair. Like when you know it, most likely, like when you get out in front of the pitch and it goes a little, you just know it's probably going to go foul. It's just stayed fair, and I was like, wow. And then last night, of course, they're down to their final strike again, and Schwarber comes on in the pinch hit. The first night that they had the comeback, that was without Kyle Schwarber, by the way, because he was scratched. He was a late scratch in the lineup because he was dealing with lower back issues. And he comes on in the pinch hit, and he works up a 12-pitch at-bat and gets on with a walk there, which was clutch. And then Derek Hill comes on off the bench, and 1-2 pitch. See you later. And then tonight, they tied the game up, and it's 5-5. And then it's Bryce Harper tonight. Harper in the 9th inning. Right before that, Schwarber got on again in the 9th inning, and then Harper just went the opposite way and held up his ring finger. He wanted to make sure that he said that it was his ring finger and not his middle finger to the Nationals fans.
His ring finger.
It was his ring finger. So, and then Derek Hill homers again in the 9th inning.
Wow.
It's just insane. Like, I don't really know how else to describe it, but they are on fire, and I think that's just putting it lightly.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nothing better than watching exciting baseball. It must be nice.
I need to hear from you. What the heck is going on this season? Like, is this all a David Stearns thing? Like, I'll be honest with you. When I saw that the Mets were getting Bo Bichette and they stole him from us, and I saw the whole thing go down with Luis Robert Jr. and with them getting Marcus Semien, I know that they lost McNeil. I know that they lost Pete as well.
Yeah.
And they lost Diaz. But then you get Freddie Peralta. I'm like, wow, this Mets team on paper is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know what's going on. Last night during the Cubs win last night at Citi Field, the Citi Field faithful were chanting Pete Alonso's name. Even though he's with Baltimore now, the fans were chanting for Pete Alonso. And this actually stems back to almost this time last year. In June of last year, the Mets were probably record-wide the best team in baseball. And ever since, they are the worst team in baseball. I don't know if it's Stearns. Definitely Mendoza's part of the issue.
Yeah,
Mendoza is not a good manager. He's not a good. He might be a great players manager. There's no accountability for any of these guys. So I don't know. That's where on our topics here, I started off 9-19. Both our teams at the beginning of the season were 9-19, and ever since the Mets are 25-28. And the Phillies are 36-17 since that point. I don't know, were the Phillies at 9-19 when they changed to Mattingly, or because what has been the big change since Mattingly has taken over the managerial spot?
They were 9-19 under Rob Thompson. That's where they were, and then after that, just like you said, that record right there, that's all under Don Mattingly. It's so funny because years ago, I always thought that a manager can only do so much, and a manager can't, like, in football, a head coach really does impact a lot of different things. And I thought that from a baseball perspective that the manager wasn't as impactful as a head coach in football. But I will tell you, just from a Phillies perspective, that when Joe Girardi was here and then the Phillies fired Girardi and promoted Rob, that change and letting them feel loose really did make a big difference because the talent was always there. And the talent was always in there, but it was just getting it out of the guys. And this year, they played so soft, like they didn't play for Rob anymore. And they needed another identity shift, and they were looking to go after Alex Cora. That was the whole thing, is that they wanted to get Alex Cora. They saw that Cora got fired, and Cora, they weren't able to get him, so that then they just promoted Don. And ever since then, they're playing more small ball. They're playing with so much more grit and so much more passion, and they just look like a totally different team. Now, part of the problem, too, was that Zach Wheeler was hurt. JT was also hurt as well at times. And obviously, JT is just such a great catcher when it comes to just framing pitches and getting on the same page. He's so good at that. And then they missed Duran, who is one of the best closers in all of baseball. But even still, just with how they were playing, it was just terrible. Justin Crawford was your best hitter in the month of April. And everybody else was just ice cold. And it was a replica of what this team has failed to do in the playoffs in the last 3-4 years. So,
yeah. So I don't know. Watching the scoreboard every night, it must. My Mets can put up 3 or 4 runs. We're like, all right, we have a shot at winning tonight. And then playing like the Cubs, the Phillies, you guys are putting up 10 runs. You guys are putting up 10 runs a night, and I don't know. No, nobody's got that for the Mets. Nobody's got that fire. There's like no true leader on the team. The manager's not a true leader as well. He's on the last year of his contract. I don't know what they're waiting for to. I know you're going to have an interim manager the rest of the way, but you got to try to light a fire under somebody's backside.
How come they haven't gone after Alex Cora?
Well, I don't know if they did. I don't know if they did or not. That I don't know. I know the Phillies when it happened. I know the Phillies were definitely interested. I don't know if the Mets actually did or not. But Cora's still getting paid from the Red Sox to sit at home the rest of the year. If he would have went to the Mets, they probably would have stuck him with that coaching staff,
right? Which
he might not have wanted. Like if they did go after him, would you want to go somewhere and manage and not have a say?
That's true.
On who's your bench coach or hitting
You're
coaches.
Right.
So,
right.
But I don't know for a fact if the Mets actually went after Cora. Now they might in the offseason,
sure.
Philadelphia. But if Philadelphia makes a run, is there any chance Mattingly gets the full-time job?
He said that he doesn't want to, but I will tell you, his son is the GM. It's I don't know. He gets to work with his son. I think that's pretty cool. But I think that when he says that he is done after the year, I think he means it. But it also wouldn't shock me because I don't know. Like this team has really looked so different with him at the head of the helm. I like even tonight. I'm like they're gonna come back. Like watch, even with all the ugly plays that they had, and it was ugly baseball. The first hour, 45 minutes, it virtually made my eyes bleed. It was so bad. It was terrible. It was disgusting, and it looked like that they were playing like a little league team just because of all the errors that they were making, and for them to just string it all together like that. Even if the Nationals bullpen is bad, to just come back 3 nights in a row against the team, that is impressive.
And that doing that to a Nationals team, they've had that their pitching issues all year long, but to lose 3 consecutive games like that to a team you're fighting in the standings with, I mean that's just got to be that's got to be heartbreaking. Now they're a young enough team where they might be able to overcome it. But
yeah, no, for sure. But like you have to go through growing pains in order for you to get stronger. And I feel like for them, they have a nice young team, and I really like Butera as a manager, and I think that he's really good for the job. I think that he is definitely leading the young ones the way, and they're hitting the ball well, and they're playing great small ball, but this is something that they're going to have to work on. This is something that they're going to have to build. And if the building block is the offense, now the supplementary stuff is getting that bullpen arm. Is just figuring out how can we build around what we have. And that sort of leads me into my question to you is like, if you're the Mets, do you even do anything at the trade deadline?
Well, already last night, they traded away David Peterson.
They did.
He was the longest tenured Met. He was going to be a free agent at the end of the year anyway, so they weren't going to bring him back either way. Now, they did get a nice third baseman / first baseman from the Cubs. He's in single A ball right now, so it's going to be a few years before he's ready. But yeah, I think if you're the Mets, we haven't heard much from Steve Cohen. You know, during the offseason, Steve Cohen can't stop tweeting about how good the team is. And when the results aren't there, he doesn't say a word. He doesn't show any support or, put any pressure on the organization. He says nothing about Stearns, says nothing about Mendoza. A lot of Met fans are like, you know what? He's more worried about getting his casino built next to the ballpark. So he might not really care about the team. So I don't know. I know Stearns was the guy I wanted when the Mets were looking for president of baseball operations or a GM, whatever you want to call him. And man, was I wrong. I don't know what the issue was out in Milwaukee where he was able to build such a good team. Maybe no pressure, so nobody really cares if you're winning or losing out in Milwaukee. But the Mets, he has not done a good job with the Mets. But I have a feeling that that the owner's not going to get rid of him. It was the guy he waited years for to get. He's not going to trade. He's not going to get rid of him now. But enough hiring managers that do not have any experience.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, go out and get somebody. I mean, there's, we had Buck Showalter here a couple years ago. The man won 100 games.
Yep.
And one of the players didn't like him, so the Mets didn't bring him back.
It's just,
how about getting rid of the player?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Like I'm tired of players. And now the Mets got rid of Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil, all the fan favorites. There's really nothing. The Mets have called a couple of young guys up, Ewing and Benj, a couple of our young outfielders.
I was gonna ask you about Benj because Benj looks like he's a keeper.
Yeah, yep. Benj is really good. Now, what's weird is up until this series against Chicago, he's been very good defensively, but he had a bad series in the outfield for some reason this series. So hopefully he can get those things figured out. But yeah, I mean, the Mets got some nice young prospects, but first off, Met fans don't have the patience. When Steve Cohen bought the team, he talked about winning a World Series within the first couple seasons of owning the team. Well, we sniffed the National League Championship Series once, and we're not going to make the playoffs again this year. Getting ready to sell off some more pieces. They gave up two of their big prospects to get to Peralta. At the time, I was loving it. Where is Freddie Peralta that was getting Cy Young votes? Now, we kind of saw him for 5 2/3 innings tonight until the defense let him down. He gave up 3 runs, but all 3 were unearned because of errors by the defense again. So I don't know. I don't know. He's going to want a big contract. David Stearns doesn't seem to give out more than a 2-year deal to any pitcher. So I don't see Peralta sticking around either. So why not trade him, try to get a couple of those prospects back that you gave up?
Yeah.
But this series coming up against you guys, I mean, wait till you hear the 3 pitchers the Mets have going this weekend.
On ESPN, I was going to say on ESPN, as of this recording, like they don't have anybody tomorrow.
Well, right now, let me see who I'm using to get my information. I am using CBS Sports.
Okay.
So right now, CBS Sports is saying tomorrow is Wheeler against Zach Thornton.
Yes.
So right now, Zach Thornton on the year is 0-1 with an 8.31 ERA.
Gosh.
Christian Scott, one of our good young guys that missed all of last year with Tommy John. He got injured earlier this year, but he's back on Saturday. He's 2-0 on the year with a 3.10 ERA. going up against Rangel. I don't know how to pronounce Rangel.
Yep.
Who's 0-0, but I don't know how many innings he's got, but he's got a 2.25 ERA.
Yeah, Allen just came up because Andrew Painter was pitching really, really bad, and so they decided to call up Allen or Rangel instead. And he, in his first outing, actually looked pretty good. He did pretty good in this first outing. So I'm curious to see how he does on Saturday.
Yep. And then Sunday we have Tobias Myers, who's more of a bullpen piece, going up against Luzardo right now. It's telling me for the Phillies. So I don't know if that's true or not, but pitching matchups are not good. I would not be surprised if the Phillies are healthy. I could see the Phillies putting up 10 runs a ball game again against the Mets.
Yeah, this is. I was just going to ask you, when you think about like where the rotation has been this year and what you thought that it was going to be, like, is Freddie Peralta, with how he's been, is he like the most disappointing starting pitcher that the Mets have had in the last 20 years?
Yeah, I don't go 20 years is a long time, but I mean, he had 18 wins last year, was getting Cy Young votes in Milwaukee, and we have not seen that version of Freddie Peralta. Now we knew he doesn't go many innings. He's only going to go 5 or 6 innings. But he hasn't even been doing that up until tonight, where he went 5 2/3. He's been going 4 2/3, not getting into the fifth, barely getting into the 5th inning. He is 7th in the majors this year in walks. Like that is on Freddie Peralta like. So, and I think, I wonder what other baseball fans and teams think of the Mets pitchers, because the Cubs came over and are willing to take a shot at Peterson. So now do the Cubs think, you know what, the Mets are doing something wrong with Peterson, we can figure it out. He was an all-star back in 2025. Let's see what we can do. We'll give up this low-level minor league prospect, and the Cubs need an arm anyway. They're going to Milwaukee.
Yeah,
with 4 of their starting pitchers on the IL.
Yeah, they're still missing Matthew Boyd.
Boyd started tonight.
Oh yeah. I forgot that he just came back tonight. You're right. You're right. Yeah,
so
it's crazy. I wanted to ask also just about when it comes to Zach Thornton, what has been like his biggest thing this year? Like what has been something that has just stood out to you about him this year, and why do you think that he's just not like throwing the ball well?
I don't know. I honestly, he's 0-1. I don't even remember. I cover every Met game on my channel, and I don't remember the game he started. So it could not have been very impressive. I do not pay close enough attention to the pitching prospects in the Mets minor league system. Like I know some of the hitting guys that are coming up, so I was excited when Ben and Ewing were coming up. We have Ryan Clifford, who's a first baseman, coming up. So our offense is going to be fine, but any of our pitchers, I do not do a good enough job of keeping track of what they're doing in the minors. The last guy I really paid attention to was Christian Scott. When the Mets called him up in 24, he was the last real guy I remember being excited about. But yeah, I think that stems back to, I forget what year it was. My favorite Met prospect was Scott Kazmir, and they traded him away for junk.
He was a Philly at one point, Scott Kazmir.
They traded him away for junk. Yep. And I was so heartbroken. It's unbelievable what this team does with pitching. Even when they do bring up some good guys, DeGrom, Harvey, Syndergaard.
Yeah.
The only guy still in the league is DeGrom. I don't know whatever happened to Syndergaard. I know he was trying to make a comeback this spring, but never panned out.
Yeah.
Harvey was never the same after getting that loss in the World Series. So
yeah. No. That's
And the Mets and with Stearns, he goes out. You can't even get your hopes up for a free agent pitcher. The Mets aren't going to go. First off, they're not going to trade for Skubal. They're not going to be in on Skubal because they don't give out more than 2 or 3 year contracts. Skubal's not signing anywhere for a 2 or 3 year deal. I don't care how much money it is per year.
No. Yeah.
So
that's interesting to me. Your thoughts about Christian Scott? I know that you said that he's coming back from the IL and he's going to be back on Saturday. I know that the last time that he pitched, he gave up the long ball 3 times, and he really struggled against the St. Louis Cardinals. But there have been times this year where he has kept you in games, and he's done well. So I guess just from a Phillies perspective, or like to just the Phillies fans, what can they expect from Christian Scott?
He's gonna come inside on you. He's not afraid to come in on a hitter, and he's going to throw his fastball. He is not afraid to challenge anybody, which can get him in trouble. Like you said, he gave up the 3 home runs in the game. But once Clay Holmes went down, he was our best pitcher. Now, record-wise, he wasn't getting the wins. He had a 0-0 record for the longest time this year, but he was keeping the Mets in every game. And then, of course, he got hurt after getting his first 2 wins. And the Phillies right now, when you go to face a hot team, right now it just seems like the Phillies can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
So, but you can go into a series like that. The Mets made the Marlins look foolish a few weeks ago, and then the Marlins go to DC and sweep the Nationals. So, you never know what's going to happen when it comes to baseball. That's why.
That's baseball.
Yep.
That's the crazy thing about baseball.
Yeah.
I want to shift sides a little bit, and I want to talk about the offense with you. Yeah, on paper wise,
offense. What's that? It's not good. I'm a Jets fan in the NFL. I'm a Mets fan in football. What is offense?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. I just want to ask you though. Juan Soto this year has just been, offensively speaking, he's putting up really good numbers. He's been hitting the ball well this year. Obviously, he had those 2 homers against the Phillies, against Aaron Nola. It seems like everybody's hitting home runs off of Aaron Nola, but when he gets a hold of one, like he gets a hold of it, how would you describe this year what the Juan Soto experience has been? And with how things ended last year, are you disappointed with Juan Soto? Are you disappointed? Or how do you feel about how he's done so far this year as an individual?
First off, great question, because I was so hyped when they got Soto. Unbelievable. Now he put up great numbers in his first year. Most home runs he's ever hit in a season. But he's not and this year he's, like you said, having a great year. 17 home runs, batting 300. But he's not. A lot of people pitch around him. Like tonight, he had 3 walks, but he's not very clutch. He does not come through in a big spot ever. In the bottom of the 9th tonight, he led off the bottom of the 9th with the game tied at 3. Gary Cohen, the Met announcer, goes, Juan Soto has never hit a walk-off home run in his career. And
that's right, because the go-ahead home run that he hit against the Guardians in the playoffs, that was in the that was they were away. They weren't at home. I forgot about that. You're right.
So, and then he softly grounds out to second base. So it just he's not clutch. I mean, he's going to put up numbers. There's some people in my chat that call him Juan Solo because he's going to hit a ton of solo home runs.
Yep.
And he's going to bat 300. But what's weird is any of the batting 300, none of them are in big spots.
Right.
For a guy that's batting 300, it's going to hit 40 home runs and bat in 100 runs. I don't understand how none of them can come in a big spot.
Do you think that part of it though is because of who else is around him, like not able to get on base? Do you think that that's a part of the equation too, or do you think that it's all just on him?
No, that's part of it. Nobody getting on base. And when the first two guys tonight, now we did come up in the third inning with runners on first and second, but they walked them. They kind of pitched around them to get to Mark Vientos because they know Mark Vientos is going to swing at everything 30 feet off the plate. So that's part of the problem. The Mets last year, at least you had Alonso hitting behind them. Where if you walked Soto, well, Alonso could hit a grand slam any at bat, But yeah, Vientos said, well, they did have Semien hitting behind him. He's now on the IL. Yeah. So there's just nobody else on this team right now that, even if they had a guy like Luis Robert Jr., who's been hurt all season, even if he was around, that would put a little pressure on the pitcher, not to necessarily pitcher. They're pitching. They'll walk him to load the bases on not intentionally walk him, but they'll pitch around him to load the bases because they know the guy coming up next isn't gonna come through.
And I guess that leads me to this whole Bo Bichette thing because obviously you guys didn't get Kyle Tucker, and that was the guy that the Mets were going after, and then you steal Bo Bichette. Well, I don't want to say steal, but you guys got Bo Bichette, and you were thinking to yourself, another guy in the infield that made it to the World Series, another guy that hit really, really well in the postseason last year, just like Marcus Semien, who obviously has World Series experience, and Juan Soto, and of course Lindor too. But how has this whole Bo Bichette experience been from just you watching it on a day-to-day basis?
Well, the first month and a half of the year was horrendous. Honestly, one of the worst players I have ever watched. And what's funny, I'd have to go back and after last season, when the Mets missed the playoffs, I did a little video talking about who I wanted, as a free agent coming in. Bo Bichette was my number one guy I wanted. And when they said the Phillies, I thought it was almost a done deal with the Phillies. And I'm like, oh, no, not the guy I want, not going to the Phillies. Come on. And then Tucker signs with the Dodgers. And all of a sudden the Mets come out of nowhere to get Bichette, But since that point, Bo Bichette, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. But over his last 20, 30 games, he's batting over 300. He's starting to look like Bo Bichette from Toronto. Just no power. Not that he was a big home run hitter in Toronto, but he could, pop 20, 25 home runs. Sure. But we're not seeing any of that. We're not seeing any of that. And he's playing third base. He's not a third baseman. So while Lindor was out, it was okay. I didn't mind him seeing him at shortstop. But now that Lindor's back and Ronnie Mauricio is back for the Mets, they moved Bichette back to third base, playing out of position. Now, if the Phillies would have signed him, where would he have played with you guys?
Over at third.
Oh, over at third. So he was playing third base no matter what.
He was going to play third base no matter what. Yep. Because they would not have moved Trey Turner. Actually, you know what? Maybe they would have moved Stott over to third and then had Bo at second. But I think that they would have probably put Bo over at third at first. So
now I do not follow the Phillies like you do. But when the Mets played the Phillies last weekend, is Bryson Stott that good defensively all the time? Besides
tonight, oh yes,
okay.
He is an all-star defensive second baseman. I'm sure you probably know. You have trauma from Chase Utley, I'm sure, and everything that.
Not only when he was with the Phillies, the Dodgers, Chase Utley found us no matter where he went.
I know, but does he kind of remind you a little bit of Chase Utley on defense? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what he's just able to do. No, and I'll tell you this about Stott too. He is starting to really hit in the clutch now, which is just insane to me. He's been really working in the lab, and he is coming through with runners in scoring position. He's hitting the ball very well. And for a really long time, we asked him because in 2022, what he was so good at was fouling off pitches and working up the pitch counts against whoever the opponent was, and then he would find ways to get on base. For the last sort of 2.5 years, we weren't getting that from Bryson Stott, and now we're getting that again. And that has been a big positive for the Philadelphia Phillies, because when he is coming through in the 9th inning and he is getting on base and he is also showing pop in the bat now, that sort of opens up things to a whole nother level too. So I got to say, I've been very impressed with how Bryson Stott has turned things around overall, because he's been fantastic. So, but I wanted to also ask you, because part of the problem too, like this year that I've noticed with the New York Mets, besides Lindor just not being healthy, there have been so many questions I've noticed just from Mets culture, just about his leadership and his lack of leadership. Is that something that concerns you?
Yes, that is what is weird. A couple years ago, when the Mets retired David Wright's number, there were rumblings coming out that Lindor, after the weekend that they retired Wright's number, that the Mets were going to announce Lindor as the new captain of the Mets. Well, the day after, it might have been before the ceremony for Wright, or it might have been right after the ceremony. Steve Cohen comes out and says, as long as I'm owner, there will never be another captain on this team. And ever since, it's like Lindor could give I don't blame him. Lindor, I don't. There's things that agitate. I don't know you if, as a baseball fan, last night the Mets infield made 6 errors last night.
Yeah.
They're all smiling after they make the errors.
Oh my gosh, that doesn't fly in Philly.
The guy's taking strike 3. They'll turn around, say something to the umpire, smile as they go to the dugout. Part of that's on Mendoza. No leadership from the manager.
Absolutely.
Yep. So I don't get it. Lindor's just there are some guys. I listen to WFAN out of New York.
Yep.
There's some guys. There's a guy on there, Evan Roberts, who
Evan and Tiki.
Yeah, Evan and Tiki. Yeah.
I like listening to Evan and Tiki.
Evan does a podcast.
Yep.
Funny enough, it's called the Rico Bronya. He calls it the Rico Bronya podcast, and because he barely played with the Mets, he was a Philly. Most people remember Rico Bronya as a Philly, but
of course,
watching his podcast, it's just there's got to be things we as fans, when things are going this bad. Once again, not just this season for the Mets, going back to this point last year, the Mets have the worst record in the sport, with the second highest payroll in the sport. And who's on the team? There's nobody on this team besides Juan Soto that is worth, not to say, $55 million is worth what he's getting paid, but there's nobody on this team at that high payroll. Like, at least the Phillies, look at all the players you have, and you don't have that high of a payroll.
Well, we've been angry with Trey Turner. That has been something that we've been so bad, or that we've been so mad at, because the guy's getting paid $300 million and he's having the worst year of his career. It is so bad. And just watching him defensively night in and night out over at shortstop, sounds like he should be on the Mets. It really does. It sounds like he should be on the Mets, because he would fit right on in, because he just, again, he backhands everything. When it comes to the choppers, he either gets the glove down too low or it's like way too high. And I have to say, like, I call his arm a noodle arm. I really do, because even tonight there was a ground ball that was hit back over towards the middle, and he actually made a really good stop at it. He got it into the glove, right on the ground, had the spin turn, and then he just threw it right into the ground. Right into the ground over to first base. And I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like, it's unbelievable to me. So But no, that's the only like bad contract. I would also say Aaron Nola has been a bad contract too. He has not been good for the Philadelphia Phillies, and now he's a 5, and they paid him to be like a number 2,
Oh,
number
wow.
1. So that's been a bad contract too. But I will tell you, or I was going to ask you, I should say, Francisco Alvarez has had such an interesting career as a New York Met. I remember when I watched him playing in the minors for High A, and I thought, man, like this guy has power. This guy looks like that he could be a really good prospect for the New York Mets, and he against the Blue Rocks was just doing so well for the Renegades. Like he was doing really, really good. I just wanted to ask you, because he is now homered in 3 straight games. Is this the best version of Alvarez that you've seen, or do you think that this is just one of those spurts that he's having and you need to see more from him offensively?
This is just a spurt. We've seen this from Alvarez before, and the problem has never been his offense. Most Met fans like his offense. The problem with Alvarez is behind the plate.
Yeah.
He tries to frame every pitch.
Yep.
He does not block any balls in the dirt because he's trying to frame every pitch. He can't throw runners out from second, or runners trying to go to second or third. So, but offensively, we've seen him get hot before, and now he'll cool off. He'll bat 100 over the next 10 days. He'll swing at pitches 3 feet outside. They'll just keep throwing him sliders outside. He'll keep swinging at them. And I mean, that's what Alvarez. And you're 100% right. When he was in the minors, he was the number 1 prospect in the game.
Yeah, I remember that.
It has not.
I didn't say the Hudson
out.
Valley Renegades. I apologize. I meant, of course, to say the Brooklyn Cyclones. I totally meant to do that. That was my bad.
But yeah, I mean, he was ranked the number 1 prospect in baseball, and we have not seen anything near what should be a number 1 prospect in baseball.
What's going on with Ronnie Mauricio? That was another guy that I saw too.
Back tonight. He's back tonight. He's a great switch hitter, great arm. If the Mets could somehow, not to say that they would, if the Mets could somehow get somebody to take Francisco Lindor, the Mets could play Ronnie Mauricio at shortstop every game. He's a switch hitter. He could lead off if you want him to. Got a cannon for an arm. Another young man that needs to learn to lay off of inside pitches. Some of these guys that come up from the minors are swinging at stuff where if you stood there in the box, the ball would literally hit you. And these guys are swinging at it.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So I don't.
It's unbelievable.
I don't know. Besides our young players, now you guys are more of a veteran team, not relying on so much on the young guys this year. Now you talked about Painter, but how about some young guys for you guys? You guys have anybody in the pipeline that might be a year or 2 away?
So they just called up Gabriel Rincones Jr. because Adolis Garcia went down with obviously the season-ending surgery that he had, which really sucked because he was starting to hit the ball better, and he had a gun out in right field. He was doing really well. So they called up Gabriel Rincones Jr., and he's been okay. Hasn't really been – I think he's still figuring out major league pitching. And Justin Crawford's been playing this year, and he started off the season hot, just has not been able to – fully put it all together. He's a good defensive center fielder, and he definitely is fast. He is really quick, but the biggest complaint about the Phillies is that they've held on to these prospects for so long, and they never sold high. So when it came to Andrew Painter, and when it came to some of these guys like Adam Miller, I think is still pretty high, but his stock has really gone down. The Phillies have never been a good team when it comes to just developing minor league players. That's just not something that they've done a really good job at. And so when you just think about all of that, the biggest complaint about them is that they should have traded Andrew Painter and that they should have traded some of these other prospects just to get them guys, to get them over the hump in 2023, to get them over the hump in 2024, against the New York Mets. And they've just held on to these guys, and now they're not panning out. And it's like at the point where we're calling up, Andrew Painter gets the job this year because Ranger Suarez walks away, and Andrew Painter last year had like over a 5 ERA.
Oh, wow.
In AAA. It wasn't a good ERA, but he was just pitching really bad, and it wasn't like that he won the starting pitching position with competition. Like he won it by default.
Oh, gotcha.
And he just wasn't. His command was just so off. His command was terrible. His best outing was his first outing against the Nationals, and that fastball has just not been good. So they have a guy in Gage Wood who has done a very good job of just performing down in the high A level. But he, again, like if you're trying to win now, which obviously it seems like that's what the Phillies are trying to do, you gotta mortgage the future, and you gotta try to do everything you can to win a World Series. You can't just build for the future. You gotta put in the chips. So you gotta go for it all. And I'm hoping that that's like what they do. Now there have been rumors about Aroldis Chapman. There have been rumors about Tarek Skubal, and their bullpen could definitely use help. But man, you have to take a risk. You have to go all in at the deadline. And that's been like the biggest thing about the Phillies is that they haven't been able to. Yeah, they did make a nice trade for Duran last year, and they made a good trade for Harrison Bader last year. But Ranger Suarez walks, Harrison Bader walks, and we're still looking for a right-handed bat, and that's been a big problem for year in and year out because the bats just go cold in October. And the Philly fans, when they see the same sort of deficiencies, it doesn't matter if they make it to the playoffs. What they care about is getting over that hump, which I'm sure that Mets fans obviously feel the same way because they have that blue-collar mentality too.
Yeah.
So it's, to answer your question, there really isn't anybody in the system that we feel great about. And
so do you think come the trade deadline, do you think that might hurt maybe being able to get, say, going out to get somebody like Skubal for the rest of the season or, another starting pitcher? Is that going to hurt the Phillies?
Well, they're going to have to resign him. I don't really know who they're going to have to obviously, you're going to have to give up a lot to go get Tarek Skubal. But just imagine a rotation of Christopher Sanchez, Tarek Skubal, and Zach Wheeler as your number 3. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And Luzardo as your 4. Like, that's a playoff rotation.
Yeah,
right there.
Absolutely.
So,
and speaking of Sanchez, earlier this year he went 50 and 2/3 innings.
Yes.
And now not watching all the Phillies games. Out of those 50 innings, were there really any that were? I'm sure there were some that were stressful innings to say. I'm sure not all 50 and 2/3 innings were 1, 2, 3 innings. So during that stretch, how impressive was Sanchez during that stretch?
I've seen Roy Halladay pitch. I've seen Cliff Lee pitch. And with the 4 aces that they had in 2010 with Oswalt, also Blanton a part of that, and watching Cole Hamels, I've never seen a pitcher like Christopher Sanchez because this guy's journey, when you just even think about it, he was traded for Curtis Mead. And now the funny thing is that Curtis Mead homered off of him tonight, and Sanchez did not have a good outing. But just nobody, and not even the Phillies, knew what they were going to be getting out of that trade from the Tampa Bay Rays, and they found a diamond in the rough. He has just been nothing less than sensational. If it weren't for Miz and Shohei Ohtani having the historic years that they're having, he would be like by far the favorite to win Cy Young. He really would before this outing today. But during those innings, I honestly, because the Phillies were putting up a lot of runs for him, the only game that I would say that I had a little bit of fear in was the game against Cleveland, because they ended up losing 1-0 and the offense gave you nothing in that game. But he went 8 innings and he only gave up 4 hits, and he was just so locked in. That changeup, when it is on, that changeup is just like the best invention since bread and butter. I don't know where that came from. I don't know. But you know what?
That's getting clipped. I'm clipping that. Oh, man.
Yeah. But no, he overall this year, just dominant. And you just watch his command. He has just 3 pitches: a fastball, a changeup, and the slider. And when that changeup is working, the batter knows when the changeup is coming, and they're prepared that the changeup is coming. But the way that it moves, it's not even always from 12 to 6. It goes even deeper than that. It really does. Like sometimes they'll expect that the pitch, if it's going to be set low, that it's going to be towards the bottom tier of the zone, and it'll just go into the dirt and just take such a big angle, and it has so much bite to it. Whereas if you're a hitter, you're just going to swing over top of it, and even if you think it's going to hit the bottom of the zone, it just goes lower than that. Or he'll throw it on the inside corner to lefties, and they just swing over top of it, or they swing underneath it, and they just don't know where it's going to be. And that's why his changeup, I would actually argue, it sometimes looks better than Scubell's does. It really does. Because especially like when you have to face him in the daylight and there's shadows out there, good freaking luck. Because that thing just moves. So overall, I've been super impressed with Christopher Sanchez. The fact that they got him and they locked him up for those 3 years was just a great move by Dave. I wish that they did the same thing with Ranger Suarez. But they weren't able to do it. And tonight he had a bad outing. That is 2 bad outings in his last 3 games. But, you know, I think that because of the historic run he was on, sometimes you just have bad outings, and I still expect him to bounce back.
So some of the series you guys, after facing us, you guys have, before the All-Star break, you guys have Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Detroit. So really, I mean, Pittsburgh's about a 500 team. Kansas City's a letdown. Cincinnati's been a letdown. Now Detroit's starting to come back a little bit, but I mean, you guys, if you guys can stay hot, I mean, right now 4 games behind the Braves. I mean, you guys, unbelievable. And honestly, before Mattingly took over, what were Philly fans' thoughts before? Did Philly fans want Thompson gone?
Absolutely.
Okay.
1,000%.
So, but I'm sure a lot of you, like us, like Met fans, wanted Cora, but then Cora decides not to go. They named Mattingly. Are you guys excited?
We thought that was a start, but there still needed to be more stuff done because, again, the Dave Dombrowski really did nothing to address the right-handed bat situation in the offseason, and we just had a bunch of what we thought platoon outfielders, and we got Nick Castellanos was on the team, and then they let him walk. And Adolis Garcia is now not playing right field. And even when they got him for like a $10 million contract, they thought like that was another Max Kepler signing where it's a low risk, high reward thing. But usually a lot of times those don't work out in the Phillies' favor. And then you just look at the contract of Trey Turner. You look at the contract of Aaron Nola. guys just underperforming. It just felt like at the very beginning of the season, this was just a replica of what they were doing in the playoffs with the bats just going cold and just nothing was going their way. They're chasing after pitches. They're not playing small ball. They're not disciplined at the plate. And guys are just chasing. And oh, yeah, chasing. You know? It's just, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Bad. No, it was bad baseball. But to their credit, I think that they also didn't necessarily have a culture. Mm-hmm. And now it feels like to me that they have a backbone to them. And they're hitting better. This is the best that they've hit over the last week all season long. By far. They are putting the ball in play. It doesn't even matter. Like, they could be down 7-0 at this point, and I still trust them because they play every single strike. They were down to their final strike 2 nights in a row. Mm-hmm. And they put up, 8 runs in the first game in the 9th inning, all with 2 outs. All with 2 outs. Nobody on. And then last night, Schwarber comes on in the pinch hit, works up again a 12-pitch at bat, gets on with a walk, and then Derek Hill off the bench, a guy that was just traded after Adolis Garcia. It was announced that he was going to be out for the rest of the season. He comes on in, and nobody knew that he was going to hit a home run there because that wasn't a blockbuster trade. You don't really know who Derek Hill is. I mean, he's been around the league for a little bit, and he's a good defensive player, but he's been a journeyman, really. But he's been phenomenal. He's been playing so well, and they just have this. They have this culture, and they have this ride or die mentality that is just like. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Flyers. Like the Flyers just caught lightning in a bottle. And they just had this, of course, Vladar was doing really well. Mm-hmm. But when you see Porter Martone get called up and you see the types of shots that he's taken and you just see the energy that is in that building when they are just scratching and clawing against Pittsburgh and just even making their way into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They had this sort of magic. They had this just unstoppable identity where they just felt like that they could just beat anybody. Mm-hmm. And that's how the Phillies are playing right now. It's just insane. And there's no sort of stat that really just shows why that it's happening right now. But it just is. And you saw the other day, Kyle Schwarber hits a 3-homer game. I'm sure that did not make you happy. And then Harper hits for the cycle. Almost hit it for 2 days in a row. This team just has something going to them.
So kind of not to compare the Phillies to my Mets, but that's the way it felt for us Met fans in 24.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They just no matter what they did, it was turning the gold. All kinds of comebacks that year.
It's unbelievable. I did want to ask you, just going back to this whole Carson Bench thing, because as a fan aside, from afar, I really think that he has a great swing, and I think that he's going to be in the league for a while. Any sort of player comps that sort of stand out to you when it comes to thinking of Carson Bench?
I'm going to go old school here.
Go for it.
I'm going to go to a guy now, a little bit different position because Bench can play all 3 outfield positions, but he mostly plays right field. But he kind of reminds me of, in the field especially, Lenny Dykstra. So not necessarily offensively, but yeah, yep. Dykstra was on the Mets when I became a fan. Then he eventually went over to the Phillies.
Oh yes.
So, but yeah, Benj is that kind of guy. Like I said, this was a bad series defensively for him for some reason. I don't know why. Hopefully he can get that figured out. But yeah, I mean, defensively out in the field, he is all over the place. They will show some plays on balls hitting the gap where he will run 30, 40 yards and run a ball down.
It also just seems like that he doesn't give up on the at bats. Like
Right.
even when they were down like 6-0 or whatever it was against the Phillies, like he still fought through. Like I know that some people will say that that was a garbage time home run, but I thought that he was locked in when he hit that opposite field home run.
And that's once the Mets were keeping him down about 6 or 7 in the lineup. Once the Mets moved him to the leadoff spot, he was batting .213. He's got the average up almost to .260 now. He's working counts. It'll be interesting what they see when Lindor's played one game since coming back. So it'll be interesting to see if they put Lindor back in the leadoff spot and move Benj down. But yeah, I mean that's Benj is a guy. Ewing's a little different because he's more of a speedster. Once he gets on base, he's going to steal a ton of bases. Not going to hit Ewing. Excuse me. Ewing's going to get on base a lot and steal bases, but not a home run guy. Not as good defensively as well, but he can run a ball that he can. What I've noticed about Ewing, not to change it from Benj, but Ewing will cut balls off in the gaps and hold base hits to singles. A lot that's something that a lot of the times can go unnoticed. So
sure.
But Benj is going to be around for a long time. Can play all three outfield positions if need be. So right now with the Mets, we're having Soto in left, Ewing in center, and Benj in right. I could see that being the Met outfield for the next 5 to 10 seasons.
That's good. That's interesting to learn. That's really good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. I was also going to ask too. The other thing that is sort of when I think about like the New York Mets and just how bad that they've been this year. They got Luke Weaver, they got Devin Williams like during the offseason. Did you think that was going to boost the bullpen, or were you like heading on into this year? We knew that the bullpen was going to just be like.
Well, I liked the Weaver signing. I did not like the Williams signing at all. I wanted Diaz back.
Yeah.
Now that hasn't worked out. Diaz has had some injury problems out there in LA, but the Mets signed Williams, but wanted Diaz back. If that's the case, you got to sign Diaz first because you bring Williams in. What's Diaz supposed to think?
That's right.
So I was not a big fan of Williams. I was never a fan of Williams when he was in Milwaukee. He's really never been the same since Pete Alonso hit that home run against him in the playoffs in 2024. Now he's having an okay season this year, but not a dominant Devin Williams, top 5 closer in the game, But Weaver's been absolutely lights out. 20 consecutive games, no runs, 21 innings in those 20 games. So we got our own guy that's going. You had a starting pitcher do it. We have a reliever that's up to 21 consecutive innings. So, but dominant. I mean, Weaver is absolutely came in tonight, faced 2, 3, and 4 in the Cub lineup and struck them all out. Yeah, I mean, Weaver's a guy. If the Mets keep falling, if they get swept this weekend by Philly, and some other bad series coming up. For the Mets have to go to Atlanta for 4 before the All-Star break.
Oh my gosh! So
the Mets, if they're not going to start doing it now, they will definitely start trading pieces off. Weaver's a guy. Not that you're going to get a ton of value, not a ton of prospects in return, but you're going to get something. The Mets have a good bullpen aside from Williams, and the Mets will get if they want to trade those pieces off to playoff teams. They'll be able to do that. And look for Williams, not Williams. Look for Weaver to be one of those guys because the Mets. I don't know for some reason the Mets gave Williams like a 3-year contract. The guy has not been good.
No,
since 2024 playoffs. Why are we giving him a 3-year deal?
Well, I mean the other thing too is like you have to think about Freddie Peralta.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about all these Brewers guys, Tobias Myers,
right?
It's just an obsession with all these Brewers players.
And I actually getting the Peralta deal. I liked getting Myers back in that deal. I'm like, oh, that's a good relief pitcher.
Yeah,
guy that can start for you. And
sure.
he hasn't. Now he's getting a start this weekend, but he's not been good. So
no.
anything Stearns did this offseason has turned to
dust.
Turn to garbage. And once again, I said it earlier when we were recording. Last night, the Met fans chanting Pete Alonso's name when they're down 10-5 in the ninth inning. I mean, come on. I mean, how do you let one of the all-time fan favorites walk over a couple $1 million? My goodness. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what the direction of the team's going to be. I still have now Mendoza's on the last year of his contract, but he's got an option year for 27. Now, whether we have baseball or not in 27, maybe we can touch on that a little bit. But if they pick up his option for next season, there might not be anybody. There might not be fans in that ballpark, even if there is a season.
That's crazy.
So
that's unbelievable.
I don't get it. I don't.
Part of me, you have to understand. Part of me, as a fan of the Phillies, is like, oh my gosh, like the Mets are bad, and like I mean, growing up, like I was, I did not like the Mets, but like also as a competitor. And I hate to be this way. People in my chat are not going to be happy when I say this. I kind of want the Mets to be good because I want to be able to beat, like, I like a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I really like a good rivalry. And that I really haven't been able to get that. And, of course, the Braves are just at the top of the division. Like, come on.
Well, and Braves fans are the worst because they don't stop chirping when their team is good, and they go into hibernation when their team is bad.
Oh my gosh!
At least Mets and Philly fans, we keep showing up no matter what our team is doing. So
that's true. I have to give you guys that. I do.
What's funny is you bring it up. You're talking about dislikes for the team. My chat thinks, I don't know if it's because I've lived in Pennsylvania for so long now. But even growing up, when I was first becoming a sports fan, I never had the hatred for the Phillies as some fans do. I have more of a hatred for even though we never played them, the Yankees. Of course, the Yankees.
Yes.
The Atlanta Braves. The Braves have always been good since I've been a kid. So it could be because just living here in Pennsylvania, most of my friends are Phillies fans. So I want to see if my team is not going to do good. Well, maybe your team, could do good. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. One of my guys, I want to tonight when we were the Mets. It was a 0-0 game, and then all the errors happened again tonight. One of my guys in my chat, his name's Jason. He says the Mets are like a train wreck that never ends. It just keeps going.
Is this the worst season?
This is the worst. Fan? This is the worst. This is worse than '92, which was dubbed the worst team money could buy.
Yeah,
that team at this point of the season was 4 games under 500, where the Mets are 13 games under 500 at this point. I mean, not going stat for stat. I don't know, but record wise. This is the worst Met team I have ever seen, and it all starts with leadership for me. Stearns to me, even though I wanted him, I was glad that they waited to get him. Stearns is not a good GM. Mendoza is a horrible in-game manager. I don't know who is going to come in, and I mean the Mets are going to be rebuilding. If there's a 2027. Who's Juan Soto? Who's gonna be on this team? Yeah. Nobody, because if there's who knows what the new contracts are gonna look like. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a rough few seasons for the Mets.
You know, I was going to ask you, have your thoughts changed about Steve Cohen too? Like, do you think that do you put accountability on him too?
Oh, absolutely. Now, not so much as he goes out and spends the money, second highest payroll in the sport, so he's
Yes.
willing to spend the money on players.
Yes.
But do not chirp all off season long about how good this baseball team is, and then when the fans aren't showing up to the stadium because your team is complete garbage on the field, and he's ridiculing the fans for not coming out to the stadium. Stop talking, dude. One of the things the Mets did, and I don't know if this made like other cities, like the Mets put their tickets on sale at the beginning of the year only up until July. Now, what are they going to do? Because they did at the beginning of the year, they didn't sell any of the August, September games. If this team is that bad and they start trading pieces off, there is literally going to be 1,000, 2,000 people in the stands.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable. I mean, there needs to be changes. Whether that's now, I understand not firing Stearns in season. I understand that, but there is no reason for Mendoza to still be coaching this team every day.
Yeah.
Some accountability needs to be held. You got rid of all his coaches after last year, after they completely collapsed, and now you're getting the same results. Well, what's the same? Who's the same person that's still there? It's Mendoza. I do not think he's a leader. I know, but I don't know who the answer is right now, because you're not going to pick your bench coach. Your bench coach isn't going to come in and
right.
Now, there's some Met fans that'll say, "Oh, well, give me Carlos Beltran." First off, the Mets aren't going to do that. He's got his Hall of Fame induction coming up this summer, so they're not going to screw up with that. Should maybe consider him for next year? No, I wouldn't consider. You got to go out and get somebody that has managerial experience, whether that's Cora. I don't know if it's Cora or not. There's going to be a lot of teams in on Cora come off season, but the Mets are going to have a completely new coaching staff if there's a season next year.
That's crazy. That's it. It's just so wild for me to just think about all of that, because I did not expect the Mets to just be this bad heading on into the season. I actually said this a couple of times. I thought that the Mets won free agency. I really did. I really did. I thought that they won free agency when they got Luis Robert Jr., when they got Jorge Polanco, when they got like all of the Marcus Semien and just some good bullpen pieces, and they got rid of Helsley. I mean, like, I really thought that they had themselves a really good offseason, and just for them to just not be able to put it together. We've seen super teams and we've seen teams across sports that had great talent on paper and just not be able to figure it out. I don't ever remember a team that just had all this superstar talent that could just never put it together and just be at the bottom, like be at the absolute bottom of the league. I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know what to say. That's the problem. Like the only thing I hope for is games like tonight, where the Mets, they were down 3-0. Well, obviously they got 2 runs right back in the bottom of the inning. Great. At least they're in the ball game. When they were playing the earlier games against the Cubs and against the weekend against the Phillies, the games were over. No offense. I don't want to criticize anybody that's watching my live streams, but we go from the top of the first inning to having 125 people in our live chat to the Mets giving up 5 runs, and I got 30 people the rest of the night.
That's crazy.
But I appreciate, it's not criticizing the people that are sticking around.
Of course, no, absolutely, no. Yeah. I completely understand like where you're coming from.
But I completely understand. How do you think, how do those fans that aren't sticking around think I feel? Do you think I want to be, yes, I do want to be doing this, but I also want a team that's at least going to be competitive. I know you're going to be a bad team. Lose a ball game 4-3 in 10 innings. We had a great stream tonight. We had a ton of Cubs fans coming in being respectful. We had, my Met fans were all there tonight, and I had almost now your channel is absolutely going unbelievable right now.
Thank you.
I was at one point tonight. Let me see. I always write my stats down. I had 300. I had 349 people watching during the game. I mean, we were having a great time, even though it was
That's
a
good though.
3-2 game. Back and forth. That's
Sure.
Sign me up for that every night instead of these 10-5, 10-2 losses.
My favorite thing is when the Sixers were doing bad. This is just a side topic here. Like when the Sixers were doing bad, I would get people that were in my chat that were like, "Why are you so angry?" And then I'm like, yeah, okay. So like, you can say that because you don't watch this team on a night-to-night basis, and like you're the type of person that just turns the TV off,
right?
And literally just moves on about your day. And of course, I signed up for this. Like, this is a part of like my contract. This is a part of our contract. Like we covered these teams, like no matter how bad they are or how great they are.
Oh,
but when they're just so bad, I had a comment one time that was like, you know what? Like after how they played tonight, even though they just won by a point, like you should feel so happy that they ended up getting the win. They're like, why aren't you happy? And I'm like, well, no, like they just didn't lose 9 in a row. Like, nope, that didn't happen. Like, yeah.
And don't the people coming in here saying, don't they realize how much the teams pay us to do these YouTube channels?
I know. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Before I let you go, I also did want to ask you to just the last thing that I will ask is, what are 3 things that you would like to see from the New York Mets as far as like reasonable goals go, like within the next month?
Play more competitive. One would be play more competitive baseball, like tonight. Now we know because of the injuries and because of our, now trading Peterson, and just be competitive. Just that's all we're asking. We know it's going to be a bad year. Make it at least enjoyable to watch. I would like to see. I don't know if it's. I would still like to see some prospects brought up. The Mets have a young man, Ryan Clifford, down in the minor leagues who can play first base. This guy we have playing first base now, Mark Vientos. I don't care if somebody gives us a bag of half-eaten potato chips.
He always does so good against the Phillies, though. Like for whatever reason, he always does good against the Phillies. I can't understand it.
So I give at least if you bring up Clifford, he knows how to play first base. He's a first baseman. People are like, well, he's either going to hit a home run or strike out. Okay, well, we just let Pete Alonso walk. What did Pete Alonso do? He either hit a home run or struck out.
That's right. No, it's not. It's not common sense to these people.
I would like to see the Mets. A month from now, we're talking trade deadline. Trade off some of these pieces. I don't know if bringing back some other maybe bad contracts. I don't know. I know like the Giants are going to want to trade some pieces. Do you go over to San Francisco and say, hey, we'll give you this for Willy Adames, somebody that's still got like 5 years left on his deal, right. But bring in some guys that are going to be able to contribute to the team. Now, I like the Peterson trade because we got a prospect that can play first base or third base. If you want to bring up Ryan Clifford, you now have a guy back in the minor leagues that's going to be able to play first base if you want to bring up a guy like Ryan Clifford. So, I don't know. I just want to see some competitive baseball. And I would still like to see, I know you asked for 3, but I would still like to see Mendoza, even though it's not 100% on Carlos Mendoza, the man needs to be replaced.
Do you want to see Peralta traded?
I personally want to see Peralta traded. I did not like giving up. We gave up Jet Williams and Sproat. I did not want to give up those two guys. If those two guys were going to go in a trade, it should have. Now the Mets are bad, so they're not going to be in on Scooble this year. But that's who those guys should have went for, that kind of prospect, that kind of pitcher.
Right.
Not a guy that doesn't average 6 innings per start. I know he was 18-6 and got Cy Young votes last year, but we need a guy that's going to go 6 or 7 innings and come up in a big, show up in a big spot and not. So, it's too late now. But try to trade him. You're not going to give him a big contract in the offseason anyway. So try to get it. I wouldn't mind taking a couple prospects. Since we gave up prospects for him, I wouldn't mind trying to get a couple prospects back. But yeah, if you're going to trade some relievers, either get a lower, get a different reliever back that's going to be able to contribute. I mean, I need to start seeing some other people on this team besides Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos and Francisco Alvarez. How many more? These guys have been on the team 3 or 4 seasons now. How much more time do we need to see them not come through? I don't get it.
I hear you. No, that makes a lot of sense.
So I do have a couple things for you before we go.
Perfect.
One thing is we have the All-Star game coming up. First off, you're closer to the city than I am. How is Philadelphia right now? Only 2.5 weeks away from the All-Star game.
They're fired up, man. I mean, obviously the World Cup's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And once that is done, I think that they're going to be like fully dedicated, and they are really looking forward to this. I know I am.
Right.
I mean, oh my gosh. I'm so excited for All-Star Village. It's going to be so incredible. Watching the draft, being able to go there and just being able to just see everything that's going on and see all the former players and just that community of people. I am so thrilled. I'm so excited. And I'm going to the home run derby too.
Nice.
I definitely dropped a little bit for that, but I am really excited. I'm very stoked about it, and Philly fans are definitely really excited about it too, and it should be a lot of fun.
How about the celebrity softball game? You going to that?
I'm not going to the celebrity softball game. Who's in it?
I don't know. Oh man,
yeah,
I don't know. I know they have it every year at the All-Star, the host city, but I don't.
They do.
And half the time when I do watch it on TV, I don't know who half of these people are. If you're not somehow sports related, I don't know who you are. I'm sorry.
They gotta get us to play. They gotta do it. They gotta get us to play.
Man. That would be funny.
That would be funny.
Oh,
that would be great. Yeah, but I'm very excited. Nice. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll definitely, as far as content goes, I'm really, really excited with what I'm going to be able to see, and just all the clips from all the homers and the interviews. Oh, it's going to be so awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
So that's got to be cool. Yeah. Thanks for reaching out. I mean, you're the one that reached out at the beginning of the week and said, you want to do this.
Yeah.
I get my team is bad. I get very moody. I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this YouTube channel. This agitates me.
No. But see, here's the thing that people don't understand is that like when the going gets really rough, it really affects you as a content creator. It really tests your mental toughness, and people don't necessarily understand that. And that really is the truth. I mean, just from watching the 76ers like last year, there were times where I was doubting myself, and there were times where I'm like, how much longer can I put up with this? And obviously, I still stayed committed, but it really does impact you. And people don't understand that because, they don't work it. Like when you're in this to win it and you just see how bad the team is and the numbers are down, it eats at you. It does.
Yeah. And I agree. What's weird being a Met fan, I'm a Flyer fan, and I cover Flyers games on the channel. And I'm like, last year they're out of the playoffs, so I'm like, baseball can't come quick enough. I need to start doing baseball games. Baseball finally starts, the Flyers start getting hot. I'm like, the Mets are on. I can't be doing my Flyer games. So I mixed in a couple Flyer games at the end of the year, but I'm like, really? I finally stopped covering the Flyers because baseball started, and now the Flyers are going to get hot, go on this magical run.
Right. No. Yeah. It's crazy. But no, thank you for having me on, because I was doing this with District Nation earlier in the week, and I thought, Nick's Film School does something similar to this, like where they try to get people who cover like the opposing teams, and they always like it when the other creator gives insights on what is going on from the opponent's perspective. And obviously, like, just from being able to see it from afar, obviously, like, we know, like, it's terrible with everything that's going on with the New York Mets, but even just the insight that you've given us just about like what specifically it is that you're tired of, and what are some of the bright spots, like when it comes to watching Carson Bench, when it comes to watching other guys like AJ Ewing and just the young guys, like how refreshing that is, and the bullpen being really good. But just to sort of get like a full perspective from just the other lens, the other shoes, it really is awesome to just be able to get that, because then it makes you think.
You and I, actually, as long as we've known each other now, you and I have talked about doing this, and it's just never worked out. Yep. So, one thing we will have in common the rest of the year, us Met fans will hope you guys beat the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't care who anybody is a fan of until then. When they start coming in my chat, the Braves will be playing somebody, and my Mets are playing, I don't know, the Marlins. Why are Braves fans in my chat talking crap about my baseball team? Go watch your team.
That's what was happening to me with the New York Knicks. I could not stand when New York Knicks fans were coming on into my chat, and even when they weren't playing against like the Knicks, it was so annoying. I was like, oh my gosh, like, are you guys okay? like do you guys need help? Like, are you okay?
Blink twice if you need help.
That's right.
So awesome stuff, JJ. Thank you so much for man. We're on 90 minutes of this.
It's crazy.
Thinking, I'm like, I'll talk to JJ. We'll go about a half hour, 40 minutes, and an hour and a half later, we're still laughing.
We just started recording, and we were just talking. We like literally no intro, nothing. We just fired away. It was awesome.
Yep. So, great stuff. Good luck to your Phillies. And I honestly mean this, because most Met fans do have a hatred for the Phillies. I do not. Good luck to your Phillies, because you're right. When the Mets and Phillies are both good, man, that's some exciting baseball. So hopefully my Mets can figure it around. One more thing. Yeah. I do want to know what your actual thoughts are of potential of baseball or no baseball in 2027. Where do you think that stands right now?
There's going to be a lockout. That really is the inevitable, and I'm scared. I'm scared because the sport has been gaining so much momentum, and it is, in my opinion, and from just looking at the viewership opinions, or sorry, just from looking at the numbers don't lie. Like, the sport has really done such a great job over these last 4 or 5 years, like ever since the pitch clock and all the other intricacies, cutting the fat off the bones, as I like to call it, when it comes to like the mound visits, the disengagements over at first, and just the 3-batter rule.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would see so many different timeouts. If you were to go back and watch a game from 2019 or even just 2022, it's a completely different game. Like, the first inning could take an hour. It really could. Like, or like going on into like the 5th inning, there was just so much dead time. And then at bats could take just 22 minutes. And then you're just sitting there and you're just waiting every single 2 minutes, like after every single pitch. And then you see, oh, nope, they're going to disengage over at first. Okay. So you think the pitch is coming, and all of a sudden it's just, it was just really, really slow. It was dragging on, and the sport was gaining so much momentum. And for it to just go into this type of area, it's sad. It really is. And obviously, of course, do I think about it from a content perspective? Yes, 1,000%. I think about the people that are in our shoes, just like us, that are trying to make it. And that really is bad. Like that is horrible for us. But I also think about the other workers, the people that work in the concession stands, people that are the janitors, people that work in ticket sales, marketing. It sucks for them. It really is just scary. And that is the part that really just sticks out to me, is it's not just about the product, it's about all those jobs.
So not good, but we can only hope they can at least they're talking.
Yes.
At least they're like, I think they're far apart, but at least they are.
Yes.
So
no, I definitely agree, and that part definitely does make me happy. For sure.
So,
but anyhow, please tell my chat, obviously, like, where they can find you. Of course, I'm gonna have your links posted. But as far as your social medias go, and as far as your YouTube channel goes, where can they find you?
PureAdrenaline Sports on YouTube. I used to stream to other platforms. I don't do that anymore. We're just strictly YouTube now. It's the best platform to stream to. All the other platforms are more, video game, for video gamers and stuff like that. So it's really not worth. So on YouTube, I do have an X account, PureAdrenaline 7 over there. I really don't post much over there though. So if you want to see us, it's all on YouTube now. So, nice. And I cover every Mets game during the baseball season. I cover baseball up until the Mets are done. We'll mix in some playoff games as well. I try not to, especially when it comes to you, come playoff time. I try not to compete against I won't cover any Phillies games unless it was unless it was the Mets for some reason. But then come hockey season, I'll be back to Flyers coverage this year. We're actually getting 2 more games. We're going from 82 to 84 games in the NHL this year. So that'll be good. It's starting in September this year instead of October.
That's going to be great.
And we'll have some football content. I don't necessarily, I'm a Jets fan. People on JJ's channel, stop laughing. But I usually don't cover my team unless the Jets did not make a primetime game this year. They have been so bad for so long. I honestly hardly ever get to watch them. But I will mix in some other games depending on what we get here in northern PA. Usually we get the Steelers on CBS and the Eagles on Fox usually. So, but I'll cover some primetime games and stuff like that. But Penn State football as well. Same thing to you, JJ. Anybody that's going to be watching this video on the PureAdrenaline channel, they know who you. I talk about you on my channel all the time. Go ahead and give out your information as well.
Yeah, so for me, I'm on TikTok. If you type in, it's at JJ Sports PBP 76. That is my TikTok account. As far as my Twitch goes, I'm on Twitch, and that's play-by-play with JJ over on Twitch, and same thing over on the YouTube side of things as well. On Twitter, it's JJ Sports. Yeah, it's at JJ Sports PBP 76 as well over there, and on Instagram, it's PBP with JJ. So
Nice.
those are all my socials. But man, thank you so much for doing this. Good luck to the New York Mets the rest of the way. I mean, and like make sure that you sleep, but make sure that you obviously take care of yourself, because I know when the going gets bad, it is like people don't understand. It is frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
It is so mentally wearing and tearing. It really does. It impacts you. So
yes, it does. So thanks again, brother. Thanks for reaching out. I know we wanted to do this for a while. So good luck the rest of the way to your Phillies. And yeah, like I said, take down those Atlanta Braves.
sounds good.
All right, man. Thanks
so
again.
much.